Good evening, everybody. Uneducated Economist here. I found a very intriguing article. This is something that I had to read like 5 or 6 times to really wrap my head around. I'm still not sure if I quite get everything about what's going on here. But there was a very interesting case that took place in the secondary market of mortgages. Now, what this takes place is, well, there's two entities here. You got Equity Bank, like the name of the company is Equity Bank, and the other one is City Mortgage. Okay, and I think they're a part of City Group, but City Mortgage and Equity Bank. These are the two that are in question here, and it comes down to this court case that took place. And now what ended up happening is that Equity sold City Mortgage some loans, and they had a clause in that loan contract that they sold to the secondary. So Equity is like, selling to the secondary market, City Mortgage. And City Mortgage said that if these loans are defective, you're going to buy them back. There's a repurchase agreement on it. And Equity was like, yeah, no problem. Well, then City Mortgage has 12 mortgages that came up to case. They said, hey, yours for you got to repurchase these loans or make them right. And Equity was like, no. So they took it to court. And the court says, how come you're not buying, how come you're not doing this repurchase? And they said, what repurchase? They said, the repurchase of the loans. They said, what loans? They said, the loans that you issued. And they said, no, 6 of those loans have been foreclosed on. There is no loan. What am I supposed to buy back? And the Eighth Circuit Court agreed. They said, City Mortgage has not explained what exactly Equity was supposed to repurchase. The panel wrote, without evidence of what, if anything, remained of the underlying loans, we are left guessing about whether Equity breached by failing to fulfill its repurchase obligation. You see that? Equity was like, you don't have any loans. They've been foreclosed on. 6 of them have. We can't buy something that don't exist. Now, this comes down to a very big issue with recourse. Because typically what would happen in this situation is that you would just go after the person who took out the loan is still obligated to pay off what the loan, like if you foreclose on your loan, they sell your house, you're obligated for the remainder part of the loan. That's a recourse. And if you don't pay, they'll come after their assets. Now, that's like the simple version of it. I'm sure there's a lot more complications, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who could probably explain that a lot better than I can. But that's essentially what would happen is that, you're somewhat responsible for the loan after, even if you have foreclosed, you're still responsible for a bunch of that money. Non-recourse states, you basically just walk away from your loan, nothing happens to you. They can't do anything about it. You can just like say, that's it, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. Right? And you just walk away from your loan. Now, the big deal here is that in a recourse state or in a non-recourse state, the idea is that if the risk is on the lender, the interest rates are going to be a lot higher, right? With higher risk comes higher interest rates. So with these higher interest rates, generally real estate stays low. But they found in a 2017 study, found that non-recourse states saw higher rates of real estate speculation and larger swings in housing prices. See, if you can just walk away from your loan at any time, then you don't really care how much it costs. You're like, well, if I make it, I make it. If I don't, I don't. I just walk away from it. So that's a big deal when it comes to speculation, because you can speculate all you want, and you can just like say, hey, no problems. In a recourse state, the risk is now on the borrower, because they have this risk of thinking, oh gosh, if I don't pay, they may come after my other assets. And then I would still end up having to pay what I would, beyond, the foreclosed. So what they're saying in the Eighth Circuit Court is that the secondary market doesn't have any recourse. They can't go after anything. If the foreclosure on, they're like basically left holding the bag. What happens to the secondary market now? Well, they're not going to pay as much for those loans. In fact, they're not going to take on that risk. And so if there's more risk, there's higher interest rates in order to attract the secondary market. You see what's happening here? The Eighth Circuit Court has pretty much made all these loans non-recourse, where the secondary market can't go after the foreclosed repossessions. Very interesting stuff here. It took me a while to get my mind wrapped around this one. I hope I explained that well. And yeah, I'll leave a link down in the description. Uneducated economist. You guys let me know.